we have a second update about the mother-in-law who broke into the honeymoon suite, trashed it, and waited for the young couple, the newlyweds, to cross the threshold so they could have a chat. So I can't go over everything because this is the third part in this, but just a very brief recap so you know what this daughter-in-law has gone through. This is the same mother-in-law who didn't want this wedding to happen in the first place. Like, she tried to convince the daughter-in-law, please don't marry my son. And when that didn't work, she went to her family, tried to convince her family to then convince the daughter-in-law. So bad. So that didn't work. She also is the same mother-in-law who the daughter-in-law overheard her say, looking at a messy kitchen, well, we could have the Mexican clean it up. And this daughter-in-law is indeed Mexican. She's the same mother-in-law who mocked and publicly humiliated the daughter-in-law for cooking a dish she told her to cook. And I guess it wasn't up to the mother-in-law's standards. Same mother-in-law that came in and out of their home for years as if it was her own, didn't knock, nothing like that. And the same mother-in-law who had her husband, the father-in-law, put hands on the daughter-in-law. They went no contact finally after 10 years of her being mistreated, only to have the mother-in-law reach out after a period of time of silence, reach out to her husband saying, we need to talk. And when he didn't respond fast enough, she's like, don't make this a big deal. Your wife can come, not come. I really don't care. And she was reaching out to us in the first video, asking basically about reconciliation. Like, is this someone you would reconcile with after such a short period of time of estrangement, after they had done all this to you, when now they want to talk? And I said absolutely not. And I'm pretty sure a lot of you agreed with me that if somebody, anybody, I don't care your name or your rank in my life, I don't care if you're my mother, my grandmother, if anybody treated me with such disrespect, repeatedly, maliciously trying to hurt me, there's no way they would get back into my life until they have proven long-term change. And this mother-in-law hadn't. In fact, she showed you in her text, she still doesn't see you as a woman that she needs to respect and honor. She doesn't see you as that. So I said no, but you guys had a lot of questions. So she came back, and that was part 2. So if you want to know the answers to these, watch part 2. Part 2 was all about, where was your husband when he saw his mom on the couch in your honeymoon suite, and your honeymoon suite was completely trashed? She ate all the food, wet all the towels, threw them on the floor. Like, what did he do? Where was your husband when she did the racial slurs? Where was he when she walked in and out of your house? Where was he when she was mocking you in front of everybody? And what did he do when his dad put hands on you? All that is in that video. But that video also prompted more questions, and that's why she's back. So in that video, we discovered her father-in-law put hands on her the day she went over to pick up her stepson. So it turns out her husband was married before. So you guys wanted to know, where's wife number 1? What happened, and why did they break up? It's exactly what you think. It's the same thing. It was the same pattern. The husband wouldn't stand up for her, and the parents just attacked her constantly, viciously, until she finally had enough and left. But the not so funny part, but just a side note, she said before her and her husband got married, the mother-in-law trash talked the ex-wife like crazy, just drug her name through the mud. After they got married, it was like a long lost soul daughter or something. Like, she was just missing profusely. She was the best cook, the best cleaner, the best person she could have ever wanted for her son, like on and on and on. And this daughter-in-law is like, wow, like, I can really tell like who you are. So that's the answer to that question. The other things that she shared in this final update is that she feels like her husband will always freeze because he was just raised in such a religious family who believes that your ranking tells you that you get to be the authority. So if you're a parent, you get to forever tell your child, no matter how old they get, what to do, and they have to listen. Otherwise, they're disobedient. So obey thy parent, always 1,000% without question is their motto. And she said that her husband falls trap into that all the time. She also said in this update that the bad habits that her husband had promised to stop before they went to their vow renewal, they're already kind of creeping back in a little bit. So that's making her uncomfortable. And then the last line, I'm going to read it to you. Her last line was, do I worry that my marriage is failing no matter what? Yeah. Yeah, I do, because I don't feel loved most of the time. Most of the time, I just feel very alone. Doesn't that just break your heart? And I know a lot of you recommended therapy for her. She is in therapy. She's dealing with her own stuff. So she does have professional help. I think she just trusts our community to give it to her straight while we're holding her tenderly. So I'm going to reiterate something that I said in the caption to part 2. I said that a change this big, like just because you felt like you had an answer from God, that God said if he can set boundaries with his parents, if he can leave the bad habits behind and you can start fresh with like a vow renewal and all that stuff. And just because you felt very hopeful and yes, this is really great, making a change like that, just deciding to, doesn't actually give you the tools necessary to support that change. And the fact that he went through one wife and now he might lose another wife because he cannot unfreeze with his parents tells me, like, so if this were my husband, it tells me that my husband needs a lot of healing work, that his parents really did a number on him, is deeply ingrained. And this work it's very delicate and it takes a really long time. I'm talking years. So if you go under, or if you go from the expert in this field that I would go to, if this were my husband, Dr. Kenneth Adams, he wrote the book When He's Married to Mom. He specializes in mother enmeshed men, and he says it takes, I believe, 4 to 5 years of intense therapy before a husband or a man can fully untether and do the self work to be able to stand on his own and have an identity and work through the shame and all that stuff. So that would be my first step, is partnering up with him in any way that I could, just getting close to that expert, as close to him as I could. Maybe he has therapists underneath him. I know he has weekend workshops. You just have to check your budget. The other thing I would do, once the individual work on both sides, once your individual therapists believe, yeah, you guys are ready for couples, then I would join in and have couples therapy, making sure we work through all the attachment ruptures. I mean, you guys have so many attachment injuries in your marriage alone, and all the betrayals where he didn't stand up for you, he didn't protect you, he didn't have your back for so much. I mean, you have felt unsafe for so long, and I would need to work through that, the pain, the injuries, the betrayal, the resentment. Like, I would need all that, and then tools like, how do we set boundaries now that we know what they are? How do we stick together as a team? How do we work through the guilt, the shame, all that stuff? Then I would do couples therapy. I know there was a lot, but I feel really bad. This is the final update that we're going to do on this story. So MYB community, I know that you guys are going to have such valuable insight and you're going to give it to her straight. But again, just know that she is already in individual therapy. So that is such a huge protective factor for her. And I'm really glad. And I thank you so much. Please email Ryan and I so we at least keep tabs on you. Yeah, so thank you for coming back again and sharing with us. And now hopefully we have all of our answers. Hopefully we have a fuller picture of this. And if you want the full story, just go back and watch part 1, part 2. And again, this is part 3.